Kathy, to hear more from the various quarters and in particular the business community, I am joined by Advocate Mto Ulu, the President of the South African Chamber of Commerce and Industry. Advocate Ulu, thank you very much for joining us this evening. What's your reaction to this resignation as you've been weighing in on the goings-on at Eskom for a while?
Good evening, Kolani, and good evening to the viewers. Yes, as you correctly pointed out, I think as recent as last week, we had decried the situation at Eskom, and part of the problem that we have laid was at the ExCo level, which is led by the CEO, Mr. De Ruyter. So we note the resignation. I guess it's always unfortunate when the leader of the ship had to leave, but it's a reality that we have to live with now that it's being confirmed, and we are really hoping that our position that we want a rigorous overhaul of how we run Eskom will be part and parcel of the executive search that has now been confirmed. But I guess we have to note the situation. It's been an unfortunate tenure for the CEO, and hopefully we can send a new leaf as a country, because obviously his tenure was marred with the most unprecedented loadshedding, which had a dire effect on business. So we note it, but we want to commit the country to say there's an opportunity now to get the best leadership at Eskom because of what we know and the policies that we've seen at Eskom.
Advocate Ulu, just 3 months ago, you questioned what credible and established process the cabinet actually follows in the selection, recruitment, retention, and performance management of the leadership in state-owned enterprises, including Eskom. This is an opportunity, wouldn't you say, for Eskom to re-establish itself and actually make sure that they have a turnaround strategy and they make this recruitment more transparent?
Yes, absolutely. Once again, last week we were worried that even though we got to stage 6, the board had not come out really to tell us exactly what they found, because they had promised us that they were going to hit the ground running. Now they have a golden opportunity to really come out more transparently and more strategically and have a proper engagement with South Africans to say, now that we have this opportunity to overhaul the executive committee of Eskom, this is what we think the future of Eskom can look like, with the background of this stage 6 that we are facing. So we are really hopeful that we are not going to get ourselves into a traditional search of an executive process, handpicked with CEOs, without really able to connect what kind of CEO we need to be able to face the challenges that we have at Eskom. So we implore the cabinet to really not interfere too much on this, allow the board to appoint its own CEO, and allow the board to actually have a broader overhaul of the executive committee so that we are able to hold them accountable for an ExCo that they have now appointed. We are glad that they are going to appoint their own CEO, but we are saying, knowing what we know, let us not fall into the same trap of having a CEO just for the sake of having a CEO. We want a better leadership at Eskom, and the executive search must not be the traditional sense. It must be broader, bringing in the stakeholders. Let's get the best of South Africans to run this company, and let's not limit the decision-making to the board and the cabinet.
Advocate Ulu, you are a businessman, you are in business. There have been a lot of talk around the issue of having a chairman becoming CEO or one person acting on both posts because it really talks about accountability. The fact that there is this talk that Mpho Makwana, the chairperson, could act in that position until the person is found, does it worry you? Do you hold any reservations around that particular possibility?
Going through the statement now, I think Eskom has got to confirm that they are not going to have the chairman becoming an executive chairman. It is something that we will outrightly reject, because first and foremost, Mr. Makwana is too busy. He chairs other 2 large operations or companies in the South African economy. So we'll be asking for trouble if we allow Mr. Makwana to step in as the acting CEO or an executive chairman. We have, and I think Mr. De Ruyter is going to stay until financial year end of March, we have these 3 months to redesign and repurpose the ExCo and the structure. And I think the board must move away from any possibility that their chairman can step in, because they would be falling into the trap of the previous board of thinking that they can do everything. They cannot. We are hoping that they can provide oversight because of their expertise, but they will be asking for trouble if they want to propose any of the board members to step in as CEO. We need a proper CEO and a proper exco, independently operational, with a board that has the necessary distance to provide oversight and independence over the affairs of Eskom.
How important is it that your suggestion, if I remember correctly, that you've also made that cabinet must appoint an independent or establish an independent commission that will look at the selection and recruitment of SOE boards, including the appointment of the executive? How important is that today, knowing that the most important CEO has walked out of the job?
I think, leadership also takes advantage of opportunities, even if it's not of their own making. And we are hoping that the cabinet will look back at our recommendations and say, here's a golden opportunity for us to come clean South Africans and acknowledge that all the interventions that cabinet has put in place previously had not worked. And maybe a new dimension is what is now being called upon. And let's broaden the search. Let's be more transparent and more accountable about how we select, identify, verify executives, and how do we ultimately appoint them. And what kind of performance management regime are we going to set in place so that we don't have another CEO coming in and not able to appreciate the heat of being the CEO of Eskom and then have another resignation 12 months later. So it's a golden opportunity, and I think cabinet should take our call. It's a leadership opportunity to say, South Africans don't believe that the multiple cabinet structures are going to work with Eskom because they've failed. Maybe now is an opportunity for us to broaden the scope and have a new way of recruiting the executive in a way that South Africans can gain confidence that indeed Eskom can recover from the crisis that it's facing now.
Advocate Pulu, something that has to do with Eskom as well. The National Energy Regulator of South Africa has postponed its decision on that Eskom application for a 32% increase in the tariff price for the price of electricity that we use. What is your take on the 32% application, seeing that we are being load-shedded at high levels, yet Eskom wants to recoup more money?
Yes, I think as a business community, we reject the high level or the high increase that Eskom seeks. Eskom is arguing that it's cost reflective, but business people are consumers of the energy. We are willing to pay a reasonable price for a reasonable service. And where we are now, we have a situation where we are paying for a service that's unavailable, and we are being forced to invest in alternatives. So in essence, we are already paying high levels of high energy costs, even besides Eskom, because the Eskom in some cases you are paying for a non-delivery of service. We support NERSA, and we are hoping that they are going to reject the 32%, and hopefully, we can get a deeper analysis of the structural state of Eskom and understand what it actually means to have cost-reflective tariffs. Because remember, part of the approval means that Eskom needs to demonstrate that it's being run efficiently. And I think in the application, they have not demonstrated to South Africans that they are being run efficiently, and therefore the 32% is unaffordable, and it's just really the bait that Eskom has made. And no South African is going to accept it because it's way beyond a reasonable cost, and there's no justification that Eskom is efficient and deserves the increase.
Advocate Mthokulu, thank you very much for your time. Of course, he is the president of the South African Chamber of Commerce and Industry, reacting to the resignation of Group CEO at Eskom, André de Ruyter.